Same faces, different hairstyle. FARMAGIA. Art done by Mashima Hiro, who is most family known by Fairy Tail, and Rave Masters, one of his earlier works, and Eden Zero, one of his most recent. Now, unlike those other three that I just mentioned, Farmagia didn't start as a manga. It's an anime original. Now, it does have a video game, but both the video game and the anime came out pretty much in the span of 3 months. So this was a planned multimedia project. Now, just I do have the video game and I have played like a little bit of the beginning, the tutorial and such. The only thing that I can say is that different voice actors. The voice actor from the even though it's what was both works was done at the same time. Yes, each one of them have different voice actors. Now, with Farmagia, the anime takes place in the underworld known as Felicidad, where farmers, known as Farmagia as the title of the anime, plant seeds, and those seeds grew up to be monsters. Now, the group of characters, our main characters, all the main and supporting characters, all are just living their best lives. They're talking about their dreams for the future, tending to their farms, where all of the sudden the Grand Magus died. Now, in this world, there's a hierarchy where there's the Grand Magus, there's the Eurasian Sages, there are six Farmagias, Grand Magus, Eurasian Sages, and then the regular people at the bottom. Now, the Grand Magus died, and suddenly, after mourning his death, one of the Eurasian Sages decides to be the new Grand Magus and went off the deep end, in other words. He wants to create a new order where only the strong people rule and the weak people are slaves for the strong. Now, obviously our main characters are not going to stand that, and they decided to revolt against the new Grand Magus. Now, sadly, the other Eurasian Sages also sided with the new Grand Magus, and how do I say this? There's a lot of this will be a slight spoiler, but there's death in this anime. The war where the main characters and they go to different kingdom to stop the other Eurasian Sages. There's death in this anime. I'm not gonna say names. I'm not gonna say who. That will be too much of a spoiler. But there, people die in this anime, and honestly, watching the structure of how this world Felicidad works, in the back of my mind, I was always questioning myself: are they gonna take that back? Are they going to do some resurrection jutsu? Are they going to do something to take back all of the death that occurred during the anime? And surprisingly, no. Everybody who died stayed dead. There was one that I was so sure that they were going to revive, but no, even that person stayed dead. So hey, kudos. Even though it wasn't gruesome death, there wasn't any blood or anything, but they stick with it. So though, that's a point for me. For the anime, they stuck with it, where many others do the resurrection jutsu, for a lack of another word, but this one didn't. So at least rest assured that they didn't took it back. Now, yes, there's war. Like I said, there's war, stopping the other Eurasian Sages, stopping the no Grand Magus. Now, as stories goes, this is where I'm gonna stop because I don't want to say any spoilers. Now, now I'm going to talk about the animation. The animation, the West is weird, but it fits. The reason why I say is because yes, everything is 2D, but there's some monsters that are 3D models, and you think that putting 2D monsters with the other 3D monsters side by side would look weird, would be super noticeable. But well, yes, I did notice, but it's not that noticeable. Maybe it's because of the color palette that they use or the blending. Maybe putting 2D animation on top of the 3D models, but I don't know how they made it work, but they did made it work. It wasn't distracting. Yes, if you're a trained eye like me that have watched anime for a long period of years, yes, you notice, but it wasn't distracting. I wasn't like, oh my goodness, it's no, it was fine. So it didn't, it wasn't a negative for me. Now, one other thing that I suppose that I should say, and it's very noticeable for me, especially if you have watched Mashima Heroes, his previous work like Fairy Tail, Eden Zero, and even Rave Master. Farmagia had a surprisingly lack of ecchi. And when I say lack, they wasn't any ecchi at all in this entire anime. In all 12 episodes, no ecchi. No perverted scenes, no up the skirt, no weird angle, absolutely nothing ecchi. Now, am I angry about it? No. I was just mostly surprised because it's something that you would expect with all of his work, every single one of them having ecchi, and this one suddenly not having ecchi. It was surprising. Maybe it's because this one was more geared for a younger audience, while Fairy Tail and other such were for multiple age groups. Maybe they wanted this one for Magia to be more for a younger demographic. So maybe that's it, and they told him, hey, no itchiness. Hey, I'm not mad at it. It's just something that I just noticed. Now, let me see if there's anything else to talk about. No, I think that I'm talking about everything that I think. It just was a okay anime. The score that I would like to give it is a 6. It's not honestly, I was going to give it first a 5, but since they didn't took back all the death that occurred during this anime, I gave it a 6. So there it is. Those are my opinions and review of Pharmagia. Have a great day, have a great night, wherever you're from, and see you in the next video.